Now, Donald Trump's been on the warpath fighting to make sure that NFL players are not protesting police brutality. Now, this is a very important issue, slash one that he decided to take on when there are far more important issues that a president should be talking about. Actually, if he cared about police brutality, that would be a monumental issue to talk about one way or another. But he never talks about that. He just pretends as if the kneeling during the football games that Colin Kaepernick started is somehow meant as a sign of disrespect to the flag, the anthem, or our veterans. Now, none of the players ever said that. They're very clear. They're worried about police brutality, the shooting of unarmed African Americans, and unfortunately systemic racism. And so Trump comes out and has been saying, oh yeah, well make sure they get fired if they complain about racism. Well, given that you're the most powerful guy in the country and you're the president of the United States and leader of the government, that is a deeply disturbing thing to say and might be unconstitutional. But he has more, and what I'm about to tell you, unfortunately, is devastating because he has won on this issue. At least for the moment being, I'll explain. So he tweeted just a little while ago, why is the NFL getting massive tax breaks while at the same time disrespecting our anthem, flag, and country? Change tax law. Now, unfortunately, just yesterday on the program, I largely predicted that this is exactly what was going on because I noticed that Jerry Jones and Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, had already capitulated and had bowed down to Trump. And I thought, well, they're not going to do that and change their position as they both did unless there's money on the line. Here's what I said yesterday. This is about Jerry Jones. Now, it's obvious that the White House has gone to a lot of the owners and said, hey, remember you guys are billionaire Republicans. I don't know the internal conversations, but probably had conversations about, hey, you know, the taxpayers subsidize you guys. It's called crony capitalism. We Republicans love it, and we've been practicing it with you for a long time. Plus, I've got $1 trillion tax cuts coming. Would you like some of that, or would you like me to, make sure that the NFL owners are left out? I don't know that for sure. Okay. Well, turns out I was right again. And I don't say that to rub it in, although that's fun. No, I'm telling you because this is how politics works. Follow the money, and you'll have your answer. You too can figure it out. Apparently, the only people who can't figure it out are usually TV pundits. Anyway, so yesterday I told you that he might threaten tax issues. Today, he proves me right by threatening tax issues. Now, he's kind of wrong about this. I'm going to go to Talking Points memo here. They explain that the NFL gave up its tax-exempt status in 2015, leaving it unclear which tax breaks Trump would be looking to eliminate. The league does see tax breaks when building stadiums, but those are granted by local governments, not the federal government. Now, you think Donald Trump knows that distinction? Are you positive Donald Trump knows the difference between the federal, state, and local governments? So the idea that he would know the complicated, it's actually not that complicated, but the tax structure that allows those NFL owners to have their tax breaks, he doesn't know which part of the government's responsible for that. So we found out later that it turns out he was watching Fox News. And Tucker Carlson had on an expert who talked about how they should take away tax subsidies from all these sports teams. Well, in the Fox News segment, they didn't mention that the NFL had already voluntarily given up their federal government tax break, which by the way was not much of a tax break in that case. It barely affected the teams. The much bigger ones, like I said, are at the local level. And so, but Trump doesn't know any of that. He just watched Fox News and he said, oh yeah, that's right. Let's punish him with the taxes, right? So now, to be fair, this happens all Monday night. And so in what I was mentioning on yesterday's program, it appears that he was not, I should have never given him credit for any degree of negotiations or sophistication. He actually did not do it privately. He just chose to do it later publicly. But Jerry Jones and the owner of the Dolphins, being smart guys, figured out that's where he's going with this thing. And there's a ton of money on the line, so we better not mess around with this guy. So how very, very brave of them. And then Trump tweets, a big salute to Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, who will bench players who disrespect our flag, stand for the anthem, or sit for the game. Now, I think that all NFL players it's absolutely the time to take a bold stand, and they should all kneel in unison. And look, the white players, man, are you guys teammates or are you not? Now, I mean, how many times do we have to go through these stats? Black Americans are shot disproportionately by the police. They smoke marijuana, as an example, at the same rate as whites, but are arrested at 4 times the rate of whites. Do you think that your fellow teammates are making that up? Do you think that their experience is not valid, that you know better than them even though you didn't live their life? No, you guys are supposed to be teammates. Stand together, or in this case, take a knee together. So letting Jerry Jones intimidate you and say he's gonna sit you, really? You're gonna sit Ezekiel Elliott? You're gonna sit Dak Prescott? You're gonna sit Des Bryant? You're gonna sit all those guys? You're gonna sit all the white players too? All the rest of the owners that are now, as you'll see in a second, are beginning to think about doing this for the entire league. You're gonna sit Tom Brady, you're gonna sit Aaron Rodgers? Be bold, take a stand. And this isn't just now about police brutality. It's also about how the government is trying to use its power to violate our Constitution. Because it is not unconstitutional for Jerry Jones to say that he's gonna hurt his own financial interest by sitting his players who are taking a knee. He's a private owner, he can do that. But when the government, in the form of Donald Trump, says, I will give you financial penalties if you don't do as I say and punish people for their speech, well then yes, we definitely have a constitutional issue. That is the core of the First Amendment. So how much could he hurt the NFL owners if he wanted? Trump's proposed tax plan would be a huge boost to the NFL, as it would cut the tax rates that NFL owners pay from 40% to 25%. That is billions of dollars on the line, not millions, billions. So all of a sudden the NFL owners go, oh, my players that I pretended to care about earlier, oh, they're getting shot by the cops disproportionately. I mean, it happened to Michael Bennett just the other day. He didn't get shot, thank God. But in Vegas, he was thrown down on the ground, a loaded gun put to his head by a police officer. They picked him out of a crowd after people thought there was shots fired, and everybody's running. They're like, okay, that big black guy is also running along with everyone else. He's the one we're gonna tackle. They put a gun to his head and said, we'll effing kill you. And the owners pretended to care about that. Now they go, wait, did you say there's money on the line? Forget it, I'm bowing down to Donald Trump. Don't care about my players at all. So now, to give you a sense of how much money's on the line at the local level, according to ESPN's Kevin Seifert, the public has gifted nearly $7 billion to the NFL for stadium building in the past 2 decades alone. So Trump could use his local allies to push that lever. He could exempt the NFL owners from the tax cuts. There's antitrust laws that the NFL is exempt from. So there's a lot of different levers that you could put to punish the NFL for supporting their players in this important issue. And Trump has now openly threatened to do that in brazen violation of the Constitution. And so what is the reaction of the owners? Well, Roger Goodell put out a statement today filled with, oh, we respect our players and kind of give a crap about them, but not really, because at the heart of the statement, he said, like many of our fans, we believe that everyone should stand for the national anthem. It is an important moment in our game. We want to honor our flag and our country, and our fans expect that of us. So now the reality is, it was not an important moment in any NFL game until 2009. The players and the teams were all in the locker rooms all the way through 2008 while the anthem was being sung. Do you know why they're out in the field now? Because in 2009, the Department of Defense started paying millions of dollars to the NFL for false acts of patriotism so that they could enlist more people. And then they would try to get people to sign up during halftime. They'd have military jets fly over, and they paid the NFL for that. So in 2009 is when all of this began, and the NFL, looking to make money, said, oh yeah, sure, we'll be patriotic. It's a really important moment in our games. We used to be in the locker room before, it was never important, but now that you're paying me, it's important. Now Donald Trump says, I might take some of your money away, or give you more in terms of tax cuts. And all of a sudden the NFL owners go, yeah, just kidding. Never ever cared about racism, never ever cared about our players. All we care about is the almighty dollar. And so I get it, they're incredibly greedy. They're almost all billionaires, they don't care, they want more, they always want more. But it's also craven, it's also sad and pathetic. So if I was a billionaire and this guy's gonna try to push me around, how much money of mine can you take away? How much can you punish me? So Jerry Jones, you're supposed to be a tough guy, you walk around Dallas like you own the place. when in reality you got nothing but tax breaks to build that stadium, that you made the city of Arlington own it, you made all these sweetheart deals where the taxpayers pay for everything, you don't pay for it. You're ripping off the people of Texas left and right. Then you pretend to be with the players by taking a knee before the anthem in one of the games. Now you turn around and say that you're gonna ruin their career because Donald Trump threatened you, you bitch, you miserable, pathetic loser, coward. That's who you are, Jerry Jones. So don't ever pretend going around like you're a real man strutting. And it's super easy to threaten people with less power than you. But the minute somebody showed up with what you perceive to be slightly more power than you, like a dog, you actually knelt before him. You didn't kneel in protest, you didn't kneel in prayer. You knelt because you're a lesser man. He unmanned you and you said, yes, sir, may I have another? That's who you are, Jerry Jones. Now, Roger Goodell's statement is an ominous one and is perhaps a preview of the formal decision that they're gonna make next week when they get together. But now we know, and Roger Goodell does not act without most of the owners on his side. He's the commissioner. Most of the owners apparently are dogs like Jerry Jones. They're scared of an orange buffoon like Donald Trump. Donald Trump's gonna be in office for only a little while longer, but your shame and your embarrassment and your humiliation will last forever. Enjoy it, Young Turks. Support independent media. Come join us at the Young Turks, tytnetwork.com/join.